Hello and welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studio in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Flor Oni, our top stories. President Tinubu rejects 942 billion census budget, demands cost reduction. Federal government tasks capital market operators with $100 billion investment. President of Senate Godswill Akpabio vows to champion women's rights. Minister of Housing Ahmed Dangiwa warns developers of Renewed Hope housing project to maintain high construction standards, deliver quality work. From the foreign scene, Nigeria UAE to hold talks on visa restrictions. We begin with national matters. President Bola Tinubu rejected the National Population Commission's 942 billion naira census budget, emphasizing cost-cutting measures during discussions. Sources disclosed that Tinubu suggested using National Youth Service Corps members to reduce the census exercises personnel expenses significantly. After meeting National Population Commission officials, including Chairman Nasser Kwara, Tinubu pledged to form a committee reviewing census expenditures. Presidential advisor Bayo Onanuga confirmed Tinubu's decision in a statement addressing Nigerians' ongoing preparations for an updated census. Tinubu emphasized that census planning must follow a structured approach rather than intermittent, uncoordinated activities disrupting national progress. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, has called for massive investment in capital market and the private sector to support revenue mobilization for 2025 budget implementation. The minister made the call over the weekend during an investiture ceremony of Fellow of the Capital Market Academics of Nigeria on him by the Association of Capital Market Academics of Nigeria, led by its president, Professor Uche Uwaleke. A statement issued by Osage Jacobs, J.I., director in the ministry, quoted Bagudu as saying that investment to the tune of $100 billion should come from the capital market and the private sector to build the Nigerian economy. The minister appreciated the efforts of capital market experts, emphasizing the significance of their contributions to ongoing interventions to transform the nation's economy. He, however, decried that the capital market in the country right now was inadequate to sustain the economy. He explained that the ministry's mandate of coordinating the process for the preparation, implementation, and monitoring of the national economic plans was being carried out with the assistance of its agencies. The Nigerian Institute of Social and Economic Research, the Center for Management Development, and the National Bureau of Statistics. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has declared his unwavering support for women's rights, promising to remain a fierce advocate for women's rights until the day he dies. Akpabio gave this assurance recently in Abuja at the Nigerian Senate event celebrating International Women's Day 2025 with the theme Accelerate Action, Economic and Political Inclusion, Walk the Talk. He reiterated his commitment to advancing the cause of gender equality in Nigeria. His declaration came alongside a firm promise to push for the passage of five crucial gender bills currently under discussions in the Senate. The Senate president also acknowledged the crucial role women play in leadership and governance, describing them as better managers and strong decision makers. He lamented the challenges women face in political spaces, pointing out that women themselves often do not vote for female candidates, a barrier that needs to be addressed for greater gender equality in political representation.
Tinkering with the act to enable women, the Electoral Act, to enable women to have solid say in the parliament will do so. Women are better managers. I can say that women are better managers, but sometimes women can be harder than men. Yes, when they take decision, but they are very prudent in all aspects of life. If you didn't manage us well, we won't even get here. That's a simple truth. Mine is to assure you that on this Women's Day, I pledge before you that the National Assembly will work closely with all the women leaders.
He stressed that false accusations harms not only the individuals involved, but also the credibility of the institutions and women's advocacy as a whole. Despite these, Akpabio reaffirmed that the Senate will continue to fight for women's rights and work towards a more inclusive society.
Condemn all issues of sexual harassment that are not fake. We must tell women not to use tears to look for sentiment when they are making false accusations. We must also let women know that governance is not about vanity. So if a common seat can cause the kind of ulubalo, and then you ask why don't you want to move from the seat, and somebody sits on television and says that is the only place that the camera catches me where? Are we doing beauty contests in the Senate? It's a serious place. It's not a place that you come to look for camera to catch you.
Earlier, the Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, praised the remarkable achievement of Nigerian women and recognized the significant steps taken by the Senate in prioritizing women's empowerment, particularly through the historic increase in the ministry's budget by 1,000%. She reiterated the importance of continuing to push for more women in leadership roles and for strong policies that empower women.
No, we always agree, but at this point, I'd like to disagree with you. This is such an interesting time to be a Nigerian woman. It's also a powerful time. Because for the first time in the history of Nigeria, we have the biggest budget, a 1,000% increase. It's never happened in Nigeria before. It means that we have more resources, and without resources, you can do nothing. All of our policies are outdated. Some are even 23 years old. We don't have the guidelines, we don't have frameworks. So with resources, we can be able to reach more women, and we can be able to even galvanize for more and strengthen, domestic allocation next time. I would like to, on this note, to recognize and appreciate Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for his commitment and show of the highest level of political will and prioritization for all issues that concern women, children, families, and the vulnerable.
As Bayelsa's joined the rest of the world to celebrate the International Women's Day with the theme For All Women and Girls, Rights, Equality, Empowerment, and the recent statistics of 1 out of every 5 drug addicts being a girl child as released by the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA in the state. The technical advisor to the governor on girl child development, Dr. Helen Bob, shortly after an interactive session with women of substance in Yenagua, the state capital, spoke to journalists that the Bayelsa state government is doing all it can to ensure that good morals in the state are restored. Dr. Helen added that the Bayelsa state government is trying its best in building the future of the girl child, parents and caregivers, teachers and mentors, as well as religious leaders also has a lot to do.
I think government have to do something by making sure that a bill is sent to the House of Assembly so that if anybody is arrested, there is a law backing that arrest. That's how difficult it is. Because these children are no longer learning from their parents. They're not learning from school, they're not learning from parents, they're learning from their peers. And the peer influence is high because these children are no longer learning from their parents. They're not learning from school, they're not learning from parents, they're learning from their peers.
So, I always tell parents, it boils down to parents. When they dress, most of them, they dress from their homes. They are not dressing from any other place, from their homes. We, the mothers, what are you doing? Do you close your mouth and you are afraid of your child? You carry that child for 9 months. Train that child very well so that tomorrow he will take care of you.
Them. So it's an issue, it's a big issue, not only in Bayelsa, I think in the whole Nigeria. With this Yahoo things and everything that is coming on board, the children, our girl children are prone to that drug issue, seriously in Bayelsa. I think the only way we can come out of it is what my dear sister Dr. Helen Bob is doing is to go around to talk to them, educate them the disadvantage of this drug issue. In so doing, by going from one local government to the other, from schools to school, talking to them, advising them, in so doing, by the special grace of God, that problem will be taken care of by the grace of God.
The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has strongly advised individuals who are not well grounded in the rules of the Senate to desist from running uninformed commentaries on the upper chamber. Akpabio made the remark against the backdrop of the recent decision of the Senate to suspend the Kogi Senator Natasha Akpoti Odragan for flouting the Senate rules. The Senate President spoke while receiving a delegation of the Niger Delta Ethnic Nationalities Youth Leaders Forum, which paid him a solidarity visit in Abuja. Akpabio wondered why people who had no idea of the rules of procedure in Parliament were always the ones to run uninformed commentaries on televisions on matters they knew nothing about. He said the Senate action on Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan was an unanimous decision and wondered why people were not bothered to know why there was not any dissenting voice in the Senate on the matter.
So desist from running commentaries on things they do not know is putting the rules of the Senate. Recently, somebody said that Senator raised an issue of privilege. And rule says any senator can rise up and raise issue of privilege at any point in time. And that is enshrined in Section 10 of the Standing Orders of the recent rule book says that in Section 6, subsection 1 and 2, that before you can raise your hand, you must be recognized. And before you can speak in the Senate, you must sit on the seat that was allocated to you. So you cannot raise issue of privilege from some other person's seat. You will not be allowed to speak. I think this clarification is important. Because some people say, oh, the moment he and she raised issue of privilege, the person should have been allowed to speak. We must also be careful about the nature of people that we send to the national service. When you see your fathers, 18 years old, 79 years old, who are accomplished, former ministers, former commissioners, legal minds, advocates of Nigeria, former governors, former this, former that, and even former Senate presidents contesting to come back to the Senate. Then you should know that there is something in that.
Responding to an earlier comment by the leader of the delegation, Jonathan Lokbobiri, that the first time Niger Delta was made a Senate president was 46 years ago. Akpabio said the people of Niger Delta will not toy with this position of Senate president, no matter the mischief others within the opposition rank and file attempted to do.
Also find out from the Minister of Transportation how that situation can be handled. So we can have a rail line connecting from Itakpe immediately to Abuja. It will help us a lot in terms of transportation. So I started by saying development anywhere is development everywhere. If we have a road from Badagry that traverses all parts of Nigeria all the way to Sokoto, it also helps us. Many of us may have businesses to do in Sokoto. If you don't have business, you may have to attend functions. Either your friends are getting married or celebrating, and you make use of that road. If there's no road, you can run into militants or bandits away. So for me, I believe strongly that we must have a holistic development of the nation. That is what this administration stands for. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing his best with the available resources to touch all sections of the country. These things were done in the past, we will not be talking about them now. So again, I assure you.
Jonathan Lokbobiri, president of Ijaw Youth Council, who led the delegation, had earlier expressed concern about the development at the Senate and assured Akpabio that the people of the Niger Delta are fully behind him. Lokpobiri also sought the intervention of the Senate President on the looming crisis in Rivers State, warning that it could snowball into the entire Niger Delta if not nipped in the bud. Lokpobiri raised their concerns over the Coastal Road Project, Maritime University in Oron, which is yet to take off, and the possibility of extending the Warri-Itakpe rail line to Abuja. The Ogun Area 1 Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has handed over 3,365 parcels and 75 sacks of cannabis sativa, along 88 cartons of codeine cough syrup intercepted by the its operatives to the authorities of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. The area controller of Ogun 1 Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service, Comptroller Mohammed Shuaibu, while showing newsmen around the seizures in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, disclosed that order intercepted contrabands included 10,145 bags, an equivalent of 4 trailer loads of foreign parboiled rice, which weighing 50 kilograms illegally imported into Nigeria. Shuaibu put the duty payable value of the seized bags of rice at 279.5 million naira.
It is with great responsibility that I inform you of the imminent handing over of 3,365 parcels and 35 sacks of cannabis sativa, weighing 3,103 kilograms, as well as 33 cartons of codeine, that's cough syrup, which have been seized by Ogun 1 Command operatives. This illicit drug will be handed over today to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Ogun State Command, for proper disposal and further investigation. The items being handed over, reflect the ongoing efforts of the command to combat the distribution of illegal narcotics within the country, which pose significant threat to the health and safety of our citizens. These actions send a clear and unequivocal message to those who engage in illegal activities.
Shuaibu further disclosed that the command was able to generate a total of 9.694 million naira as revenue realized from baggage assessment, as well as auction sales of the earlier intercepted PMS because of the highly inflammable nature of the item. Speaking during the handing over of the items to NDLEA officials in the spirit of inter-agency cooperation, Shuaibu said the items being handed over reflected the ongoing efforts of the command at curbing the distribution of illegal narcotics within the country.
The operatives of Ogun 1 will continue to carry out their statutory responsibility with dedication, ensuring that such illegal enterprise do not thrive in our area of responsibility. We will remain relentless in our fight against smugglers. Every tactics employed by criminals to circumvent security checks will be futile, as our intelligence network, systematic monitoring, and operational mechanism are robust and effective in identifying and tracking these economic saboteurs and their sponsors. Our primary focus will always remain on ensuring that our borders are secured and that national interests are protected. This also includes ensuring compliance with international trade agreements and safeguarding our national security.
We take a pause here. News stories from the news sector are up next. Stay with us.
Get credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join the African International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming and trending housing news. You can locate the AIHS venue via the app, network with AIHS seasoned speakers, and live chat with exhibitors. You can also order house or building materials at AIHS via this app. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from the App Store and Google Play Store. And don't forget to click on the notification button. Available for both iOS and Android users. Housing TV is also on Star Times, channel 149 decoder.
You're still watching Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Now to the build sector. Housing and Urban Development Minister, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, has issued a strong warning to all developers of the Renewed Hope housing estates and cities across the 13 locations nationwide to maintain high construction standards and deliver quality work, and says we will not tolerate any substandard work found on any Renewed Hope project site anywhere in the country. Dangiwa emphasized that construction must be based on contractual terms to ensure durability, stating that he will not hesitate to revoke the contracts. The minister spoke on Friday when he led the ministry's officials, including the Minister of State, Right Honorable Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, the permanent secretary, Dr. Shuaib Berger, and other directors of the ministry on the inspection of the ongoing construction work of 1,500 housing units Renewed Hope Housing City in Kano State, which are being built via public-private partnership and budgetary provision, respectively. Senator Ireti Kingibe, representing the FCT, has made a strong case for the inclusion of women in key decision-making roles across the housing, governance, and economic development sectors. Speaking during a customer visit to the Africa International Housing Show in Abuja, Senator Kingibe emphasized the importance of gender inclusion, calling it a vital aspect of national progress. In a statement issued by the AIHS in Abuja, Senator Kingibe, a seasoned engineer and advocate for women's empowerment, highlighted the need for equitable representation of women in shaping policies that impact their lives. The senator's call for action comes as part of her continued efforts to promote inclusive governance and gender equity, particularly as Nigeria marks International Women's Day 2025 with the theme Accelerate Action. The Kebbi state government has entered into a strategic partnership with MSM Group of companies to establish a state-of-the-art cement plant, a move expected to generate 45 jobs and accelerate economic growth in the state. Speaking at the signing ceremony in Abuja, Governor Nasri Idris described the project as a major breakthrough for economic development and a lifeline for thousands of unemployed youth and women in the state. The chairman of MSM Group, Muazzam Mairawani, highlighted the strategic importance of the investment, noting that the MSM Kebbi cement plant will utilize cutting-edge technology to enhance production and efficiency. The Minister of Finance, Olawale Edun, praised the initiative, stating that it aligns with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's economic vision of attracting private investment, fostering industrialization, and reducing poverty. Similarly, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, commended Kebbi State's effort to attract large-scale investment, reaffirming the federal government's commitment to creating a business-friendly environment. To transform the mortgage sector, the Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria has called for partnership among the industry stakeholders to deepen its penetration in the industry. MBAN's new president, Ayo Olowo-Kere, made the call at the biennial general meeting of the association held in Lagos, where he was elected. Other newly elected executives included the managing director of Home-Based Mortgage Bank, Mr. Arinze Adipe, Vice President, Deputy President East, Mr. Ime Okon, MD of Abe Mortgage Bank, Mr. Bolaji Adewumi, Managing Director, Living Trust Mortgage Bank, Dr. Olumide Adedeji, and Mrs. Joanne Adenuga, Legal Advisor. Immediate past President and Managing Director of City Gold Mortgage Bank, Mr. Mark Yoroki, was elected as ex-officio member. Olowo-Kere pledged to re-energize the subsector through advocacy and interface with primary mortgage banks and brokerage companies. He said there will be renewed vigor to grow the subsector. He further assured that the association will create a more efficient and effective association by retooling and restructuring it, fostering inclusivity and a sense of belonging among members. From the foreign scene, Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates are set to hold talks in the coming days to address the persistent challenges Nigerians face in obtaining visas. The talks aim to resolve concerns over visa restriction and strengthen diplomatic and economic ties between both nations. The decision was reached during a courtesy visit by Salem Said Al-Shamsi, the UAE ambassador to Nigeria, to Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, at the Tafawa Balewa House in Abuja. Many Nigerians, particularly those seeking tourism visas, have faced challenges securing entry into the UAE despite the long-standing diplomatic and economic ties between both nations. During the meeting, Odumegu Ojukwu reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to its partnership with the UAE, highlighting the deep economic connections between both countries. Great Britain has announced plans to streamline public reviews to speed up housing development, aiming to build 1.5 million homes in 5 years, with the Housing Ministry consulting on reducing the number of agencies and groups involved in the approval process. The Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rane, highlighted that planning delays have contributed to the housing gap, with only 193,000 homes built in 2023, far below the needed 300,000, calling for reforms to ensure a more efficient and balanced system. Britain's Housing Ministry, led by Angela Rayner, revealed that over 25 agencies have legal rights to be consulted on housing projects, causing delays and costly changes. However, under the new proposals, local planning authorities will be directed to limit the grounds for objections from other bodies and adhere more strictly to standard rules and deadlines. That's the most we can take on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. President Tinubu rejects 942 billion naira census budget, demands cost reduction. Federal government tax capital market operators. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, vows to champion women's rights. Minister of Housing, Ahmed Dangiwa, warns developers of renewed hope housing projects to maintain high construction standards and deliver quality work. From the foreign scene, Nigeria, UAE to hold talks on visa restrictions. For more news in the housing sector, subscribe to Housing TV Africa on YouTube and follow Housing TV on all social media platforms. Download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play Store and App Store to stay connected. I am Flora Ani. Bye for now.
If you want to get credible and authentic news on real estate and housing development in Africa, or you need that educative platform on how you can own a home through mortgage, look no further. We've got you covered. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on Housing TV Africa, where we bring you latest news on real estate, affordable housing, mortgage and building technologies and materials. Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube. Subscribe now and get best of educative information on housing across Africa. Powered by the largest housing event in Africa, AIHS.